Okay, wonderful. All right, you guys. Well, good morning. It is 9 o'clock sharp, Tuesday, November 12th. And thank you guys, everybody, for being on the call. I'm sure going to hear some beeps as everybody's logging on, but we promised to start on time, especially since today's call is about integrity. So just to, of everybody who's on the call for the very first time, my name is Karla, and I'm calling you from Los Angeles. You guys, I'm actually home, so this has been great. I know the first 6 weeks I was calling you from a different place, but lucky for me, I get to be home all the month of November and pretty much all of December. So I'm super excited to be able to share the call with you guys. But before I do that, I'm just going to take a little bit of time, just maybe a minute or two, to do a summary or a recap of what we have learned so far, because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but basically each call has been layering on top of each other. And the first 6 weeks, we talked all about self-reflection and how to be able to be. So all these call series have all been about how to become a better leader, right? And it all starts with you becoming a better leader with yourself. So the first couple of weeks, we talked a lot about how is it that, you can't lead other people unless you can have the capacity to lead yourself. So we talked about the disciplines, and I really hope that a lot of you guys have continued. So that's another reason why I'm bringing it up, to remind you that it all starts, the magic is in those disciplines. The disciplines create the magic, the little things from whatever it is that your goals may be. You taking those action steps in order for you to be able to accomplish what it is you're out to accomplish. And as you start putting together those disciplines and start checking them off every single day, like, did I do what I said that I did? Did I do what I said I was going to do? As you start checking them off, you're going to notice that you're going to have more confidence, more self-esteem. Then we talked about, the different levels of leadership and how it's so important that we acknowledge that, leadership is the power to influence. You can call yourself a leader, but if you have nobody following you, well, you're just, like they say, you're just taking a walk. But in order to be able to be called a leader, or to have people see you as a leader, you must have influence on those people. And we talked about the 5 different levels of leadership. And I gave you guys homework to acknowledge what level of leadership you have with each different group, with each different individual. And we talked about how important it is to go from the position of leadership to being the leadership of permission, which means that the people that you're leading can feel that you care about them. Then now they're going to give you permission to lead them. Then we talked about the 3rd level of leadership, was the leadership of results, and that is that people will follow you because they know that they will get results being in your presence. And the 4th level of leadership is the level of leadership of the most powerful one, that's the loyalty, and that is somebody who they know that not only do you care about them, not only do you produce results, but that you have an embedded interest in their self-development. And when you can have those 4 levels of leadership with somebody, the loyalty that you will have with them is just remarkable. The 5th level of leadership is the pinnacle, and you can only achieve that with time. Such as a Jim Rohn, an Oprah Winfrey, Mother Teresa, that not only did they have all levels of leadership, but the 5th one is because they stood the test of time. So you will follow them now without any rapport because of who they are out in the world. So that was, pretty much the first phase of our class. The first 6 weeks was all about establishing the disciplines, establishing the different levels of leadership, and really acknowledging who and where you have influence and how can you increase that influence. So I wanted to bring that up again because it's so important that we remember, that it's not like, okay, well, we did it 1 week and we're going to drop the ball. And, of course, we're all human. I know for myself, last week I wasn't as consistent about making my bed every day. And, when you start dropping the ball on things, it's not about beating yourself up. It's about acknowledging, like, okay, what is it? I'll give you a little thing right now. I'm reading these 2 books, and I was just telling my girlfriend, like, I have 1 chapter to go on each of the books. But why have I not completed it, And you can say, oh, well, I just put the book down. No. Like, there's something there for me to look at. So the first 6 weeks is all about really becoming self-aware, because you can't lead people unless you lead yourself. And you can't really lead yourself unless you really have an understanding of who you are, what you're about, what matters to you, what's important to you. So that was all the first 6 weeks. Now we're pretty much more than halfway on our second phase, and that is all about, now we're getting into the nits and the grinds of leadership. Like, what does it take? Last week we talked about all about what is it that causes us not to take action? What are the things that we get stuck in, okay? So today we're going to talk about integrity. And, I've been waiting a while to be able to talk about the subject, because although it is the foundation, the base of leadership, it takes a little bit for people to start acknowledging, because you not only have to be self-aware, but you've got to be willing to go there. Like, be willing to notice what I call the dirty and the nasty inside of all of us, okay? Because we're all human. Nobody's perfect, okay? So you want to grab a piece of paper and a pencil, because, this is a topic that I think can benefit you in all the areas of your life, okay? So let's talk about integrity. And integrity is the most important ingredient when it comes to leadership, okay? This is the foundation. Now, a lot of people have integrity kind of all mixed up, because they think that integrity is doing the right thing, and it's like a moral thing, right? It has nothing to do with morality, nothing. It has everything to do with, it's the state of being whole and complete. Okay, so for example, if I gave this example last night on the Spanish call, if you have a wall full of tiles, and there's one piece of tile missing on that wall, on your kitchen wall, well, now that wall no longer has integrity. It still functions, right? It still works. It's still there. It's not going to fall apart because a little piece is missing. But the wall is now not whole and complete. There's something missing. And every time you walk by that wall and you see that tile missing, you notice it. You can't help but to notice it. And you're like, oh, it's okay, it doesn't matter. And a lot of us, we have that attitude, like, oh, it's okay, it doesn't matter. And like 2 weeks ago, we talked about how everything affects everything. And everyone affects everyone. Like, we're one on this universe. We're one on this planet. So to say like, oh, it doesn't really matter, it's just you wanting to put a Band-Aid on top of that wall that's missing that tile, right? But the moment you replace that tile, bam, now the wall is whole and complete. So that's really the word of integrity is, you want to write this down, is doing what you said you were going to do by the time that you said you were going to do it. Okay? That is the easiest, most basic way of knowing that you're in integrity. It's doing what you said you were going to do by the time that you said you were going to do it. And to add one more layer to that, in addition, it's doing those things that you didn't say that you were going to do, but you know that it's expected of you. So, for example, I talked about this last night on the call. Like, let's say you're a mom, right? And you've got kids. Well, you locking the door every night so your family can be safe is a way for you to have your household be whole and complete, right? But let's say you didn't tell anybody that you were going to lock the door, but that's something that is just a given, right? And every time you don't do it, you're lacking something within yourself. Like, you're not going to beat yourself up or anything, but you know that you're not going to sleep well. Like, did I lock the door? Did I lock the door, right? So you get up and you look, boom, you lock it, and now your house is whole and complete. Because you did what you said you were going to do, even though nobody asked you to do it. Like, you just know that's something that has to be taken, that you have to put into practice, okay? So that is really what it's called, being in integrity. Now, let's bring that into leadership, okay? Why is this important? Because integrity, like I said, it is the base of a leadership. It is the main ingredient when it comes to leading people, all right? Because here's the thing. Leadership is trust is the base of the function of leadership. So without trust, people will not follow you, okay? And if they do, for a split second, the moment they no longer trust you, they will no longer follow you. And if they follow you, it might be because they're at level 1 of leadership, and that is because you've got some type of title or some type of power over them, but they will not follow you on free will, okay? So it is so important, because the leadership function on the base of it is trust, okay? Now, like I said, if you don't have people following you, then you're not leading. You're just taking a walk, as we say, right? So here's the deal. All leaders have followers. And I don't mean followers like they worship the ground you walk on or you're their idol. That's not what I mean. What I mean is you have influence with them. You have people that are following you that you say, all right, you guys, let's meet here. Boom, they follow you, okay? So if people are not following you right now at this moment in time, let's say you tell people, hey, we're going to get together for a boot camp at 7 o'clock, and, like, you're the only one that shows up, or it's just a very few people, and you know that you invited 100, you got to start looking at what is missing in your leadership that's causing them not to follow you, okay? Because you can't be like, oh, 100 people are lazy, and you're right, okay? So that's not the way it works. And most people, that's what they do. They look outward, and they are not willing to look within themselves. Like, what am I missing? And, you know, what's the influence that I could increase my level of, what can I do to increase my level of influence with these people, okay? So it's important that you understand that, you know, all leaders have followers, but here's the deal. To have followers, one must have their confidence, okay? They have to have confidence in you. Okay. Otherwise, like the same thing, you know, it's going to be like they're not going to follow you for very long. And to have confidence, the leader must be trusted. Okay. So I'm going to say that again because that is really the base of a good leader. Yes, it is, you know, having a person of influence and having the title and all that other stuff. But at the end of the day, it's can they trust you? Do they have confidence with you? And in order for them to have confidence, you must be trusted. You must be a trusted leader. So there is, you know, and there's no question that all that has the base of integrity. How do people trust you? How do you have people's confidence increase? You know, that is by, again, doing what you said you were going to do by the time you said you were going to do it. And doing those things that you know you need to do even though you didn't tell anybody you were going to do it. Okay, so now let's talk about what does that look like, because here's the thing. A lot of people think like, oh, you know, leadership is integrity is having morality and doing the right thing. And, okay, well, yeah, that's definitely part of it, right? Like you don't want to steal. If you're stealing things, you're out of integrity. I get that. But for the sake of leadership right now at this moment in time, it's really what the best way to talk about it is honoring your word. Doing what you said you were going to do by the time you said you were going to do it. Now, what happens is life happens, right? So all of a sudden, you know, like things occur, things happen, stuff happens. But here's the thing you want to get. And so you want to really keep this in mind, and that is in order for you to have integrity and to have trust with people, okay, you must always honor your word. And when you don't honor your word because things happen, then you need to acknowledge and communicate, okay? For example, okay, we are human beings. We make mistakes. We don't does every leader honor their word 100% of the time? No, they don't. But they do honor their word when they communicate when they don't honor their word. So let me explain what I mean by that. Last week, for example, okay, I was in Long Beach and I was at this meeting and I totally forgot it was Monday, okay? And on Mondays at 10 p.m. we have our Spanish personal development call. I seriously completely forgot all about it. It was like 10:08 or something like that. Somebody texted me, and you know, I saw my phone vibrate in the meeting, and I was like, "Oh my God!" And I couldn't get out of the meeting because I was like right in the front. And so anyhow, and I didn't have my notes with me, you know. And so I told the group, "Oh my God, please apologize for me that I didn't get on the call." So last night, okay. So now here's the deal, right? I was out of integrity. I didn't do what I said I was going to do by the time I said I was going to do it, right? So my integrity is out with the Spanish group at 10 p.m. Now, does that make me a bad person? No. Okay? But here's what happens. I am left uneasy. Okay? Now, here's what occurred. The moment I got on the call last night, the first thing I did was acknowledge my lack of integrity with the call. So the first thing that I did is I said, hey, you guys, before I get started, I want to apologize for last week. And then I didn't give them my excuses. I told them the truth. Because here's the thing. I could have said, my phone died and I had no battery, and I could have made up the story, right? But guess what? That's more being out of integrity. And it's not about being a lie, like doing a bad thing, because maybe they believe me that my phone died and that's why I couldn't get on the call. But it doesn't matter. What matters is I know that's not the truth. What matters is I know that I am out with my word, because I now just lied. So when the moment you do that, you guys got to get this. You lose power. The moment it doesn't matter if they believe me. I could have said, you know what, you guys, I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I missed the call. I was with Obama, right? And maybe they're like, oh my God, Karla, then of course it's a great reason to miss the call. And they believe me, right? And they're fine about it. But that's not the point. The point is, how do I feel about what it is that I am saying? How do I feel about my power? I just lost power with myself because I know that that's not the truth. But instead, I honored my word by restoring my integrity. So what I did, I got on the call last night, and I was honest with them. Listen, we're adults and we're human beings, right? Things happen. So I go, hey, you guys, I'm really sorry. Before I get on the call, I want to apologize last week. You guys, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to make excuses. I completely forgot it was Monday. I was in a meeting and in Long Beach, and I completely forgot it was Monday, so I couldn't get on the call because I couldn't get out. And on top of that, I didn't have my notes with me. So I'm really sorry that I missed the call last week. So that's step number one to restoring your integrity. Now, that's all fine and dandy, right? People now feel like, okay, she's not ignoring it. I'm not putting carpet over the dirt and try to cover something. I'm actually, acknowledging it, okay? Now, the second step to that is, now, what are you going to do about it in the future? Okay? So the moment you're out of integrity, that's fine, but now you have to pretty much like restore it and make a new promise. So I told them, I said, I'm sorry, I forgot this and that. And then I said, and you have my word that it won't happen again. Now, will it happen again? I don't know. Maybe, God forbid, something happens and then I miss the call. Well, guess what? I get to restore my word again. But here's what you want to get, is that you've got to communicate it. Because if you step over it, you will start losing trust with people. People will stop trusting you. They will stop following you. Their confidence in you will start to diminish, because they don't know. It's almost like you're unpredictable, okay? They don't know, is she going to be on time, not be on time? Is she going to do what she said she was going to do, etc.? But the moment you communicate it, bam, it frees you up. It brings back the word into what you said, the promises, and it makes that other person feel like they can trust you. Their confidence increases, and therefore your level of influence on leadership gets better. So let me give you the most simple thing that will happen with all of you guys. Let's say you are told to be the guest speaker at an HOM, or like you're going to do the tea at the HOM, whatever, right? And they tell you to be at the meeting at 6 p.m., okay? Now, is the meeting going to stop because you're not there to put the tea? No, but here's the thing you've got to get, okay? It's not about them. It's about you having your power. Okay, every single time you're not giving it up. So what happens is, let's say it's 5:45, and you know that you're going to be late. Okay, what are you going to do? Are you going to, you're going to be about 10 minutes late, and you're like, oh, well, whatever, it's just the tea, and you show up late at 6:10. Okay, now here's what happens. When you show up, the rest of the group is looking at you like, dude, it's 6:10. You said you were going to be here at 6 o'clock. We asked everybody to be here at 6 o'clock. And you walk in like nothing. Like, hey, guys, how's it going? Right? You pretend like nothing happened. So here's what happens. People, even though they don't say anything, number one, they've lost their level of trust and confidence in you is starting to diminish. Let's just say you lose a point, okay? But more importantly, you yourself have a loss of power, because unless you don't have a conscience, okay, the whole time you're driving there, you know you're late. So now you've got this stomach ache feeling. You're not feeling good about it. And then all of a sudden you get there and you're uncomfortable. They're looking at you a little weird even though they don't say anything. And then you're feeling weird, but you don't say anything. And the energy of the room is all off. Okay? Now, that is normally what happens. 99% of the people in this world, that's how they operate their life. And that's why they're stressed out. Relationships don't work. People don't trust you. They don't have influence in other people because they didn't acknowledge something that could have taken a minute. So now let's talk about scenario number 2. It's 5:45 and all of a sudden you know you're not going to be there on time. So what you do is you pick up the phone and you call the coordinator of the HOM, or you call somebody, right? And you go, hey, listen, this is Karla. Hey, Mary, I know I said that I was going to be there at 6 o'clock. I'm running a little bit late, but I'm going to get there as soon as I can. It looks like I'm probably going to get there 5 to 10 minutes after 6. I just want to let you know I'm on my way, but it looks like I might be a little bit late, okay? So now that person's thinking, oh, okay, cool. So guess what? Now nobody's wondering where Karla's at. Nobody's wondering if I'm going to come or not, I'm not going to come. Now they have, boom, I restored my communication. So guess what happens? I'm now driving there, not with butterflies. I'm not all nervous. I'm not speeding. I'm not feeling a loss of power. I'm good because I've communicated that I was going to be 5 to 10 minutes late. When I walk in, if there's more than one person in the room, right, I acknowledge it. I go, hey, you guys, I apologize for being late. I called Mary and communicated it to her. Something came up, and I just want to apologize for being a couple minutes late. Now, boom, guess what? I've brought my power back. They're not wondering why I'm late. So it's all in communication, okay? So the moment you know that you're going to be out of integrity, it's communicating that, and it frees you up, and it brings you power. People's level of confidence increase. They trust you. Therefore, your influence with them increases every single time you're around them because they know that they can count on you. And they know, and here's the other thing, we're going to talk a lot about this next week, and that is that one of the things about integrity is your words, do my words and do my deeds, my actions, do they match up? Am I who I say that I am, no matter where I am and who I'm with? And we're going to talk about people with integrity do not have divided loyalty, and they don't need to pretend. We're going to talk about all that next week, but I wanted to give you this foundation today. That is this week, my homework and my invitation to you, before I open it up for questions, is that I invite you this week to start looking at, every time you're going to break your word, communicate it and restore it. Acknowledge it and restore it. And you do that through communication. You don't just say, oh, they know. No. They don't assume anything. Communicate it. That's your first task of homework. This week, start noticing that. The second task of homework is this, and that is start looking at where do you have loss of power? Where do you feel uncomfortable? Where do you feel uneasy? Okay? And the moment you recognize where there is a lack of power, in other words, where is there a breakdown? There is a lack of integrity there. So if let's just say let's say Gabriela Carreño. Let's say every time I'm around her, she makes me nervous, and I don't like being around her. And I just, because maybe, I don't know, 2 years ago, I'm going to make something up. Let's just say I asked her to let me borrow a sweater, and I still have it. I never gave it back to her, and I ended up losing it. Okay, whatever, right? So, see, here's the thing. Maybe she forgot all about it. I don't know. But the thing is, because I remember and I know about that, every time I'm around her, I feel uneasy. Now, that is called a loss of power. So what can I do to gain my power back? And that is to communicate and acknowledge it. So I could pick up the phone and say, hey, Gabby, you know what, this is Karla. What's up? Hey, Karla, what's going on? Like, hey, listen, I just want to call and I want to apologize because about 2 years ago you let me borrow a sweater. And, girl, I know that I said I was going to give it back to you, but honestly, the truth is I lost it. And every time I'm around you, it makes me nervous and I feel bad because I know that I lost your sweater and I promised I was going to give it back to you. Now, she might be like, what sweater? But see, here's the thing, you guys, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she knows, it doesn't know, remember, doesn't remember. It doesn't matter. What matters is I know. What matters is I have a loss of power. And for me to get my power back, I got to restore and make whole and complete whatever is not whole and complete, there's something missing there, right? So every time you're uneasy around somebody, start looking at, why am I uneasy? What do I, quote unquote, owe them? Maybe you owe them an apology. Maybe at some point, I don't know, you did something that didn't make you feel good, and, you just want to acknowledge it. Hey, you know what, I'm really sorry. I know that, you gave me the keys to your house, and I ate all your chicken, and I don't know, whatever, right? But the point is, you got to start acknowledging that. So the second piece of homework this week is start looking at, where is there something missing? Like, where do you have a loss of power? And look at that and think for yourself, like, what's there for me? And in the moment you acknowledge it, the moment you distinguish it, acknowledge it and communicate it, okay? So if that person is not around, you might want to, write a letter, I don't know, and send it to them, or write a letter and, just for yourself, for a peace of mind, and just acknowledge it, because what happens is you go around life pretending like everything's fine. And every time you pretend everything's fine, you lose power, okay? So, I know it's a heavy subject sometimes, the word integrity. Integrity really is all about just really doing what you said you were going to do by the time you said you were going to do it. And every time you don't, just communicate it, okay? So next week we're going to continue on this subject, because there's a lot to say about this, and it's all about character. Next week we're going to talk about all about what is it like to have character, and what does that mean, and how do you develop it, okay? So the foundation we started, which is the disciplines, the work, the internal work. Now we're getting into the context of what components bring about a good leader, okay? And I don't mean good from good and bad, like an effective leader, okay? So let's go ahead. All right, great. So you guys have a few minutes. I would like to ask, does anybody have a question or a comment or anything they would like to share? Hello? Abigail, I can hear you talking. Be careful, baby. Anybody have a question or a comment?
I have a comment. This is Abigail.
Okay. Hi, Abigail.
Hi, everyone. So I just wanted to share something real quick because it's exciting. It's probably because of all the calls and just, applying stuff, but just lately, I go up to people and just say hi, and the hi turns into someone being really excited and calling me right away, right after I see them, and so that's really exciting. I'm excited with that. So thank you for the calls.
Awesome, good. Thank you for sharing, because I was on my way to the gym, and I'm like, oh my God, the call. So I had to come back. I'm like, come on, prepare. Still be ready when I get to the gym. I'm so happy that they've been good for you. Okay, anybody else wants to share, have a comment or a question about anything? Is it clear for you guys, this whole subject of having integrity? Is it clear? Is anybody on the phone wondering, I have no idea what talked about? Or maybe you have a little bit of a doubt about something? No?
Karla?
Yes?
You're so right about that, when you feel uneasy with people, because that's one thing with me. If something is whatever, right? If something, I feel like I have something against, not something against someone, but if something happened with someone, right? I will not be able to talk to them until I clear it up with them. And I always reach out and say, hey, what about this the other day, or or what did this mean? And that way, once I get, they tell me what it was, then I'm able to have a conversation and continue a relationship with that person. And if I don't clear it up, like you said, you feel uneasy and you tend to walk away from those people. So it makes total sense.
And here's the thing thank you for saying that, Gabby. One thing I'm going to encourage you guys to acknowledge and to recognize is that most people are going to feel uncomfortable with what you are telling them. Okay? You just got to get that. Most people are going to feel uncomfortable with what you're telling them. People don't like to be, it's not even confronted. People don't like to, talk about what's so. They like to walk around pretending that everything is fine, and here it is. You've got to get that at the end, even though they feel uncomfortable, they're going to respect you even though they might for a little bit not like you, okay, because you make them uncomfortable. And they're like, yes, I got it. I get that all the time. Whenever something is up, I'll call people on it. And it makes them uncomfortable. But then I tell them, you know what, I'd rather be 5 minutes uncomfortable but continue my relationship with you because you're important to me. Okay, so it's so important that you acknowledge. Otherwise, you go around life pretending, and like they say at Landmark, you're eating a cake, a mud cake with chocolate frosting on top. It's still a mud cake. You just put chocolate frosting on top of it and pretending that it's chocolate, and it's a bunch of poop, So anyhow, so thank you, Gavin, for that. Anybody else before we say goodbye?
Yeah, this is Mario.
Hi, Mario.
Hi, Karla. How are you?
Hey, I'm so happy you're on the call. Welcome.
Thank you. My thing's actually from the other side. When you've had someone that's let you down so many times, and you've never received that that apology or anything, and it goes for so long. How do we, like, as ourselves? I know a few people off the top of my head, if they were to apologize and confront about it, I would still not be confident in them, and they would still have that loss of power with myself.
Absolutely. So I don't know, were you on the call since the beginning of the call?
I think I joined in after about 10 minutes.
Okay, great. So I'm gonna recommend that you go back and listen to the call from the beginning so I don't repeat myself. But basically, here's the thing I'm going to answer to that, and that is you cannot control anybody else but yourself, right? So here's what I'm going to encourage, because you guys, the more that you start to develop yourself as a leader, the more you start to become self-aware, the more you are going to have, listen to what I'm about to say, you're going to need to increase your level of responsibility in the world. What I mean by that is you got to be responsible with your power, because I'm talking about myself, right? Like, let's say I know that in order for life to work, one must have integrity. I know that in order for me to be trusted, I need to do what I said I was going to do. Now, see, I know that because I've been reading, I've been going to classes, I've been taking a lot of transformational lectures. I have been doing work. But guess what? Let's say my neighbor, he doesn't honor his word, and he's constantly letting me down. I can't go to him and be like, well, you know what? You just have no integrity. Blah, 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 blah. He's going to be like, what the heck are you talking about, Karla? So we got to be responsible with our knowledge. And on top of that, because I now, not to say, and I think this is the first time you've on the call, but I shared with them a couple calls ago, I went to go see the Dalai Lama. And one of the things that the Dalai Lama talked about is that one must have compassion for people. And what that means is let's just say you've been enlightened, right? Like, you understand the importance of honoring your word. You understand all that. But when you have people around you that are constantly letting you down because they're constantly lying, or they're constantly stealing, or they're constantly cheating, or they're constantly, whatever it is that they are doing that is not living a life powerfully, we must have compassion for that human being, because they probably don't know any different. They don't know that in order for their life to work, they must have integrity. Now, so that's the first thing, is you having compassion frees you up, okay? Because not sympathy, compassion, where you're like, you know what, that human being must be really suffering, must be going through a lot, and that's why they're constantly not honoring their word. Now, if you want to take it a step further, you can actually have a conversation with that person. Now, this is where it comes in. This is where your leadership must be in place, and you must be tactful, and you must be responsible, where you can talk to Juan, let's just say, right? You say, hey, Juan, you know what? Can I have a conversation with you really quick? Yeah, man, what's up? Hey, you know what? I just want to tell you something. You really mean a lot to me. Like, I love hanging out with you, and I think you're a great person. Maybe not love hanging out with you, but, I think you're a great person. But I got to tell you, lately, I know that you say one thing and you just, I'm having a hard time because you say one thing but you don't follow through, and I just, it's a challenge for me, because you mean a lot to me, and I want to believe you, I want to follow you, I want to really be there for you, but sometimes I don't know if what you say, if you're going to follow through on it or not. And I'm telling you this because I care about you, and I want our relationship to work. So, help me understand here what's going on. Now, like I told Gabby right now, Mario, that person's going to feel a little weird. Now, you might not want to go and have that conversation because some people are not willing to listen to that. They're so stubborn that they're going to get defensive and they're going to fight with you. Now, if you know that, then you do the Dalai Lama approach, and then you just have you have compassion for that person, and you just respect them, you give your space, and you just, you choose your battles. But that's why a leader must have trust. Otherwise, I know that a lot of you guys that are on the phone right now might have missed a lot of the calls. If you guys want to send me an email, I will send you all the links to the calls, and you can go back and listen to them because they've been layering one on top of another, and maybe by listening to them, you might have an aha moment on how you can approach some situation. Okay?
Perfect. Thank you.
That's a long explanation, but it's really at the end of the day, you guys, it's us. You can't change anybody. You can cause yourself to have power by the things that you choose to do and the things that you choose to listen to. But a couple of weeks ago, we talked about everything affects everything, you guys. You got to be careful who you surround yourself with and how they're influencing you, because at the end of the day, it's your life, and you got to choose wisely who you let influence it. So, okay. All right, you guys. Anybody else? Wow, first time my English call had a lot to say. Good job, people. Anyway, all right, you guys. So listen, I know we went past 5 minutes. I want to acknowledge that it's now 9:37. So I apologize for going past a little bit, but I think Mario's question probably could have helped a lot of people on the call. So remember, every call, you guys, is being recorded until next week. So it's the same number, same code. The only thing is, not the same number, the same code. You just change the last two digits from 00 to 99, and you can listen to these replay calls till next week. Otherwise, if you guys want to send me an email or shoot me, send me an email to Karla, Karla, S as in Sandoval, C as in cat, 2000 @gmail.com, and I will forward you guys all the calls that you guys have missed, or if you guys have, even if you listen to them, if you want to listen to them again, you can have them on your phone. So again, it's Karla, SD2000 @gmail.com. With that said, thank you guys for being on the call, and we'll listen to you guys next week. And have a fantastic day, and make sure you do your homework and see where in your life are you out of integrity, and restore your word wherever it needs to be restored. All right? Talk to you later. God bless you. Lots of hugs and kisses. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.